Welcome to another week of The Inimitable Black Woman. I am your host, Donna, and I am excited for you to hear this week's interview. I always say they're a good one, but there's a Prince story. There's two Prince stories in this at the end. The interview is great. Paige is awesome, and just her energy, her laughter, she's such a funny, she's awesome. She's everything. She's the right amount of transparent, humorous, and just loving. I love and adore Paige, so I'm excited for you to meet her. Take a listen. What is your name?
My name is Paige Bryan.
Where are you from?
From Los Angeles, California.
Okay, so I went to school in LA. There's always a reputation for Los Angeles kids. Is it true? Is it false?
I will actually correct you. I feel like the reputation does not come from us LA natives. The reputation comes from, no offense, those who plant here, transplant here. And then to some degree, I feel like you might have experienced this when you lived here. Some people move here and they feel like LA has a persona or a facade that they have to then fit into. And so then those people try desperately to change themselves and morph themselves into that image. And then that's what people walk away with. And they go, this is what LA people are like. When those of us who are from here, we're super chill, so laid back, combination of surfers and just valley girls, and we're cool. So I will say that other people come here and then they ruin the reputation for everybody, but I could be biased.
I mean, you could be, but it's okay. So what are 3 words you use to describe yourself?
Vulnerable, funny, sensitive.
Vulnerable and sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Why those 2? Those are even saying that as vulnerable.
Yes, it's why I describe myself as vulnerable. I'll start with sensitive. I've always been, I've always felt all the feels. And so, easily classified as an empath. I feel all my feels very intensely, but then I feel the feels of the world very intensely as well. And so the reason I use that word to describe myself is because I feel like for most of my life, that word has been used to describe me either by myself or by others in a negative way. And I'm recently coming into realizing that me being sensitive is not something, it's not like a defect that I have. It's not some brokenness that I have, but there's actually beauty in it, and there's strength in it, because I am able to tap into those feelings and those emotions that maybe most other people want to hide from and run away from. And I love that I can be empathetic towards people, and I can feel pain. So therefore I can feel other people's pain. And so I'm being very intentional about using that word to describe myself now, because I'm trying to reclaim it as something that is a strength of mine and not a weakness. In terms of vulnerable, it's just what I am. I've always been this way. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And as much as I try to, or I guess I could say, as much as I have tried to, harden up and be a person who's well, I'm not going to share, I'm not going to do this, it's just not who I am. So yeah, I guess I'm using these words because I'm really just trying to be more intentional about, feeling confident and brave about who I am.
What was your childhood like?
Amazing. Yeah, it was. My parents are amazing. It's actually interesting because my parents were divorced. So they were married for 7 years and they got divorced for 11 years, and then got back together when I was 16 and have been together ever since. And now I'm 35. So it's interesting. So my childhood was actually spent I guess society would say a broken home, but where I really just respect and commend my parents is that it never felt like that. I never felt like I was, in this divisive culture between my mom and dad. Like when it came to me and my brother, they were very, very intentional about making sure that like that still felt like family, and it did. So I feel really blessed because I mean, yeah, there are some effects of divorce when you're a child, but there's levels to it, and I felt like they kept things very minimal. Um, my childhood was fun. Like it was so fun. I just like we took trips, like getting to travel with my dad and doing things with my mom. Like it was fun, and it was my family, my household, you know, even extended to aunts and uncles. Like I just remember laughing all the time, always laughing, so much love. Um, you know, we're all very strong personalities. So also a lot of passion and a lot of, you know, we won't call them fights, but loud conversations about things. But yeah, my childhood, you know, in terms of like family was amazing.
No, I obviously love your family. What is something that you think people get wrong about you?
Hmm. Just one thing. No, just kidding.
Listen, you could do top, let's say three at most.
Top. Okay, so let's see. Number one, I think people think I'm a lot harder than what I am. Um, so yeah, I don't think people realize just how sensitive I am. So I think a lot of times or in my life, I have had a lot kind of like piled on me, or um, people will say things to me and it won't always be in like the kindest or um, softest or rather gentle manner. And I'm the person who like in the moment, I might just be like, okay, whatever, that's what you think. And like, will cry the entire way home and like cry myself to sleep about it. So
I'm too
people think I'm, yeah, like,
good.
yeah, like that's me. Um, yeah, so people think I'm a lot harder than what I am. A common one growing up, because my dad is in the industry, is people think I'm like very superficial and stuck up. Um, that's kind of been, I feel like for the most part in my life, if someone has some kind of idea of like my family before they meet me, I kind of spend my time trying to prove
Mm.
like you already have a preconceived judgment about me. And so then, you know, I'm kind of coming in at a disadvantage. So you've already decided you probably think that I think I'm better than everyone and I'm stuck up and, you know, yada, yada, yada. And so then I end up having to come into a lot of situations being like, no, look at me. I'm super cool and down to earth. And like, no, I'm not better than anyone. Well, I mean, like, I'm confident, but like, I'm not better. Like, it's so that one's been an interesting one to navigate. Um, and let's see, I know we said three at most, but those would probably be the top two. Those are
Wait,
the top two.
how many misconceptions do you think that you've heard that you're like, if you do real quick, take them out real quick, 10 seconds, 5 seconds, how many can you count of misconceptions you feel like you've heard about yourself?
Oh, like at least five
That's a
off
lot.
the top of my head. Yeah. But I think there's like a certain element that comes with like misconceptions that just, again, with my dad being in entertainment, like those just come regardless of like having met me. Like these are things that happen before I even enter into the equation. Um, so yeah, that part.
How do you deal with that?
Um, I'm still learning. I think I've gotten better. When I was younger, I felt like I had to make myself smaller. I had to like conform to, well, what's going to make you feel comfortable with me? Like, how, okay, so you felt this way about me. What can I do to prove to you that I'm not those things? And so it was very people pleasing, which usually led to, like I said, a lot of like diminishing of myself, making myself smaller. Um, Kind of being a punching bag or like the butt of the joke, you know, just to prove that like, oh no, I can, you know, I'm here, I can take it. Um, But as I've gotten older, I'm just like, I deal with it by realizing like if you really have the energy to go and create an entire narrative about me without actually getting to know me, then that's just like not a person I want in my life to begin with. And so I'm developing the boundaries, like learning how to develop the boundaries that are necessary so I don't walk away um with like so I can walk away basically with my worth and my value intact and it not be associated with someone's misconception of me.
Yeah. What is the best advice you have received?
So from my dad, the best one has so much advice. But one of the things that I always come back to is do the best you can, work hard, and then leave room for the magic. Um, and so that's always stuck with me. I think I apply that to relationships, I apply that to my career. Um, yeah, but that, I mean, he's given me so many nuggets in my life, but that's definitely one that um, circles around a lot. And then my grandpa used to always say to me, um, you are light, use it well.
When people read your work in whatever form it is, the blogs, the book you're going to write, the stories you're telling, what is it that you want people to leave with?
Hope, when people leave with hope. Um, I think a lot of times the circumstances we go through in life, um, we just get exhausted. And as a defense, we temper hope or we try to just like completely erase it because I recently wrote in my blog about just like hope can hurt. Like hope can actually be hurtful. Like to keep showing up and to keep hoping in the midst of being disappointed or failing or having your heart broken, whatever the case may be, like it's hurtful to keep hoping for things and feeling like they're, just not happening for you. Um, and so, yeah, I would just want people to walk away. I share my story just, you know, hope in the hopes that someone would read it and know that, like, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of what it looks like now, today has nothing to do with what can happen tomorrow.
What is something you've learned about yourself during the quarantine, the pandemic, the panoramic, the panini?
The panene. I, I'm a lot more resilient than I thought I was. Um, this last year, it's like, I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but it's like COVID happened, the pandemic happened, we're in quarantine, but I feel like the pandemic was just like the beginning. It was just like the tip of the iceberg. And then literally the pandemic unleashed like all these other things to happen as well. Or at least that's been the case in my life. So a lot of things have happened. Um, in a nutshell, I was, March of last year, I was, engaged. I was moving home for what was supposed to be just for 2 months until, I was going to move in with my husband and that, or, soon to be husband. We were going to get married in September. Um, and that was the plan. Everyone around me was healthy, happy. My brother had just had a baby. And fast forward in this year, I've lost loved ones to COVID and to other things. I'm not engaged anymore. My dad had a stroke. And so, and on top of that, I'm stuck in a house, feeling like, oh my God, I'm losing my mind. But I'm still here and somehow not completely void of hope. And so, and striving and, some days probably clawing my way through, but I'm working and doing my best to like, keep building, keep growing, keep moving forward and believing that there's more on the other side of this. And so, I think the fact that that's my mentality and, that's my heart towards the situation, like it's making me realize I'm a lot more resilient than I thought I was.
Come on. Um, okay, so we're gonna have a little fun. So I'm gonna pick an age, and
Okay.
I don't know how far back your memory goes. Like my memory's kind of shot when it comes back to some years, but I'm gonna pick it, and I want you to tell me your favorite story from that age. And we're gonna pick
Oh,
three. We'll try three ages. Let's see.
okay.
Um, 12.
12. Ha. Okay.
12 years old. What is that? 12 is, it's not fifth grade, it's middle school. Middle school time.
It is. Oh, is it like I can't remember details in terms of like what time of year it is or anything, but we had a field trip. We had
Okay.
a field trip to Magic Mountain. And like the pro tip of life is if you have a field trip, you get your parent to be the chaperone because then that means you get like unlimited food and like unlimited souvenirs the whole day. And so my mom was the chaperone and we went to Magic Mountain, which is a Six Flags. So it's an amusement park out here. Um, and literally, I just remember that whole day. It was so fun. My mom took off work to be the chaperone for me. And I honestly remember feeling like the coolest kid because my mom, who is so cute and so cool, is is my chaperone and my whole entire family, but my mom especially is like so gracious and generous. And so like all day long, like if I wanted a funnel cake, everyone in my group got a funnel cake. If we wanted, extra hot dogs, everyone got extra hot dogs. And so I just literally felt like queen of the world all day. Like I am here with the coolest Magic Mountain group with the dopest chaperone that just so happens to be my mom. Like everyone, it was like a very Beyonce like bow down. Yes, I did this for you.
I love it. It brings me back to that mindset when you do something cool. It's so much bigger when you're younger. It's so much bigger. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, your mom is so cool." And I bet you were like, "Yeah,
Yeah, she is. Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want a funnel cake too? You
mom,
can have a funnel cake.
this poor girl."
Yeah, exactly. No, no, no. I can help you. I can help you. Like, I don't know. Like I felt the fact that like my access to like funnel cakes via my mom made me feel powerful, just like reflects just how not powerful I was.
21.
21. Okay. My 21st birthday actually. So my 21st birthday was also my dad's 50th birthday. So our birthdays are a day apart. So for the most part, we've like always celebrated together, which as an adult now, I'm like, what a sacrifice that he always was like, I'm willing to have this joint party with my 15-year-old because it makes her happy. But yeah, so we celebrated my 21st and his 50th with a joint birthday party and we did like this cotton club theme. So we like rented out this club and like everyone came dressed to the nines in like their 30s, 40s gear. And I just remember it being like such a fun, happy, like it was such a fun birthday. And honestly, that whole weekend, like my cousins flew out, friends from college flew out to LA, and it was just such a good weekend. Our party was on a Sunday, and I remember my birthday was on a Friday. So literally, I was like celebrating being 21 like all weekend, and it was the best. It was so fun.
Okay, so this will ask because you do have access. What has been your favorite celebrity encounter?
Without a second thought, Prince. Literally, like
You have to tell me.
oh my God. So, I actually am probably going to sound like that girl right now because I actually have multiple Prince stories. And this is
Paige, we have tapped into the gold zone. We have hit the not with the Prince story. Okay, I'm bundled.
oh my goodness. So one of the things that's like really cool about like, people always ask like, what was it like having a celebrity as a dad? And like, honestly, for me, my answer is usually like, oh, like it's fun. But my dad, my dad, like he's super down to earth, super normal. And I was raised, and my siblings were raised as normal as can be. Like it wasn't, but within that normalcy, there are these like sparkles of like really cool moments. And one of the really cool moments is that my dad was friends with Prince. I don't know how, but I felt one day I was like, I looked at my dad and I was like, the fact that Prince is your friend makes you so much cooler than I have given you credit for.
Wait,
And
pause.
I am sorry.
You said you, even though you are the reason I'm here, you're better. That
You're better now.
I
You're
underestimated you.
I did underestimate you. And I already thought you were amazing, but I didn't know you were this. I didn't know, and I'm sorry. But yeah, so favorite. Okay, so there have been a couple moments, but my two favorite would be one time we were in New York. So Prince was, I don't know if you remember years ago, Prince was doing, I forgot what it was called. I think it I forgot what it was called, but he did like 30 nights at Madison Square Garden. And so like every single night he had a different person like open for him or something like that. Like basically he just had his friends. And so one of those nights was my dad. So of course, like I'm tagging along on that trip. And so we fly to New York. Um, and I am just like on 12 because I'm like, oh my God, my dad is opening up for Prince at Madison Square Garden. Can life be any better than it is right now? And I remember it was like me, my brother, and my cousin Joseph, who was living in New York at the time. And we go to the, like, first of all, it was super dope because we got to go to sound check with my dad, which was like super cool because then when my dad was done with sound check, then Prince shows up and he like rolls in on a bicycle, like in a bicycle and in some pajamas, just like, hi. Like that's how we were talking, just hello. And just like rolled in and I'm just like, oh my God, there he is. There he is. And so the show happened, my dad kills, Prince kills. It's like the best time ever. A Prince concert is literally like pure joy and glory and unicorn glitter all wrapped into one like 2 hour experience. It's like the most amazing feeling ever. But at the end of the concert, we're all sitting backstage and my dad is just like, well, I'm gonna just go say bye. And I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, let's go say bye. Let's all go say bye.
Bye.
Yeah, like no, yeah, I should say goodbye as well. I don't want to be rude.
I don't want to be rude.
So we walk down the purple lit hallways because he has changed all the lights. Everything backstage, all the lights have been changed to purple. So everything is lit in purple. So we were walking down the purple lit hallways to his dressing room. And we get there, and there's like a group of people out there. And this is how magical Prince is. When I say there's a group of people out there, I'm saying like Spike Lee, Anthony Anderson, Naomi Campbell, like all these like legit people, Jamie Foxx, and I could not care because we're all at that moment at the same level because we just want to get close to him. Like, we all just want to get close to him. We are all like a bunch of little kids who are just like, do you think he's gonna talk to me? Do you think he's gonna talk to me?
Not
Yeah,
like
who else was that? Questlove was back there. It was literally like, I'm like, this is the power of Prince because I don't care about any of these people right now. So Prince finally comes out. And again, I'm like, Dad, you are the ish because he like, Prince like bypasses everybody else who's back there and walks straight to my dad. And he's like, you killed it tonight. Thank you so much. And I'm like, yeah, when you're just like standing in a conversation you're not really supposed to be a part of, and you're just like doing this. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And so then he like looks at my dad, and my dad's like, hey, I just wanted, to say bye, say thank you. We had a great time. And he's like, oh yeah. And then he goes, what are you doing for the rest of the night? And I'm like, literally before my dad could answer, I was like, nothing. We are doing absolutely nothing. I mean, we're free. Like, what do you have in mind? Like trying to keep it cool. And he's like, literally looks at my dad and he goes, want to hang out later? And I'm like, yes, if you say no, I will never forgive you. It's how I felt. And he was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, I'll text you. And I'm like, what is happening right now? So we leave, we go grab some food at a diner, and we're like, me and my brother and my cousin, we're just sitting there looking at my dad the whole time, like, did he text yet? Did he text yet? Did he text yet? And he's like, y'all chill out. And we're like, but did he text yet? But did he text yet? So like an hour goes by, he finally texts. And it's like literally, I feel like I'm in a movie. It's the name of a club, and then it says code word lovebird. I was like, this is not real. This is real. This is everything I would expect of a night out with Prince. Like, there's passwords. We have passwords. So we get to this little club. It's called the Underground in New York. It's a live music venue. And so we get there, and like Prince has his own little section. And so like we walk up to the door, like we get to, walk up to the entrance, and we get to the bouncer, and he's like, how can I help you? And I like step in front, and I'm like, the bird. And he's like, right this way. And I'm like, oh my God, I've arrived in life. I have arrived. So then we get there, and it's like, there's like this amazing band playing, which I think is so dope about Prince. Like, he will leave from doing a 3-4 hour concert and like go find music. Like literally, like that is amazing to me. And these weren't people who were like well known or anything like that. He just wants to be surrounded by good music. So we're listening to this band, which and so Prince is there, and then Larry Graham, who is like a really like legendary iconic bassist. Like we're, everyone's in this little pocket, and we're like jamming. And then the like coolest moment was when the band just like, did like a little survey of the crowd and looked over, and the bass player like looked at Larry Graham and just like stopped playing and just was like this with his mouth open. And then like he didn't, because he like stopped at Larry Graham and didn't even like realize Prince was standing right next to him. And literally the singer just stops and goes, oh my God, Prince is here. Like the whole entire song just stops. And he was like, oh my God, Prince is here. And so like Larry Graham gets up, he's like jamming on the bass, and then Prince decides he wants to play, but he can't just play anybody's guitar. So then he has to leave, and he has to go get his guitar, and he's going to come back. I don't know what happens, but en route to him going to get his guitar and come back, he decides he doesn't want to come back. So then a select few of us then get invited to the after party. It's like literally you're watching like the crowd, like the group gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and you're just like, am I going to make it to the next fun thing? Am I going to make it?
It's like you're playing a game. Level 1, level 2.
Level 2, you're just trying to level up. And literally this is how his assistant said the invite. She comes to my dad and she's like, Prince would like to know if you would like to join him for pasta and pizza at his hotel. And I'm like, pasta and pizza with Prince? Of course we want pasta and pizza with Prince. What? Like, this is amazing. So then my dad almost kills it for us, because he's like, I have a show tomorrow. I have to catch a 6 a.m. I have a 7 a.m. flight. And I was like, I don't care what you have. This is a once in a lifetime situation. So we like rush back to the hotel so my dad can pack, so he can leave straight from Prince's hotel to the airport. Because at this point, it's like 4 a.m. Like, it's literally 4 a.m. We get to the hotel, and like we're going up in the elevator, and we get to the hotel at the same time as Anthony Anderson and his wife. And we're all like in the elevator, and we're just like sitting there. Everyone's playing it cool. We're like, hey, what's up? And we're like, so you made it here too? Yeah, that's dope. Yeah, you're cool. I'm cool too. Get off. He's staying like in the penthouse. Get off. It's the most random group of people. It's Anthony Mackie, Zach Braff, Cornell West, Tavis Smiley, my dad, Anthony Anderson, and then me, my brother, and my cousin.
Sounds about right.
And then like Larry Graham and his family. And I'm just like, this is the most, no one would ever believe me if I said like, I'm like having pizza and pasta with Prince in his hotel with this group of people. So random. It was just like the coolest experience. Like one moment I'm looking over and my brother is like engulfed in a conversation with Cornell West. I'm like, I've become best friends with Anthony Anderson and his wife. And it was literally like the most bizarre, but exactly what you expect from a moment like this ever. And like literally his penthouse is like facing Central Park. We're watching the sun come up. And it was just like an amazing night. And then, then he, at some point he went to his room. And in very true Prince fashion was like, I'll be right back, but then never came back. And then when he never came back, it was time for everyone to go.
Everyone just,
So then
the bell was lifted. Everyone looked at each other and they're like, it's over.
well, it was like, oh, okay, I guess it is 6 a.m. Okay. Oh, he wants all of us to go. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. But yeah, but there definitely was that moment, and we like got into the elevator. So it was me, my brother, my cousin, my dad, Anthony Anderson, and his wife. And so we're in the elevator, and everyone's just like really quiet. And then it's like we all lock eyes, and at the same time we go, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!" That was just the most amazing night I've ever had in my life. Oh my god! And then I remember, I think Anthony Anderson was like, "I don't know why, but I stole this fake apple from the fake bowl of fruit." And I was like, "Damn it! I should have stolen something. What was I? I wasn't thinking. I wasn't thinking. You should have stolen something." And yeah, so that's like one of my like most epic, like I won't even say celebrity, but like he's an icon. He is like beyond a celebrity. But like I don't see ever meeting another person and having an experience and like it topping that.
I have 3 comments. 1, did your dad make his flight?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Was it close or did he make it?
It was close. It was close.
Was it like, excuse me, I have to cut all y'all. I'm running late. My flight, one of those?
Absolutely. It was absolutely one of those. All because his daughter was looking him in his eyes saying, "Don't ruin this for me."
No. Okay, number 2, how was the pizza and pasta?
You know what? The pasta was great. The pizza was subpar.
Yeah.
Which was like, no, reverse. The pizza was great. The pasta was subpar. But the pizza, like we were in New York.
Yeah.
So great pizza.
Number 3, you have 2 Prince stories?
I actually have a lot. I have more than 2 Prince stories.
Okay. Take the time. Okay. One more, and then I can't lie and tell you that I won't like suck the blood for the rest of them later.
Okay. One more. Okay, so then fast forward to Prince coming to LA and ultimately does the same residency at the Forum here in LA, like a 30 nights, which I think he ended up extending. So it was a little more than 30 nights. So same thing, but here in LA. My dad didn't open for him in the LA ones. I don't think so. No, but I basically went of the 30 shows he had. I think I went to like 7 of them. Like I literally was like, I'm going to as many as I can. But he would have these after parties, and like sometimes after the concert, or his concerts were also happening during like award season. So around the Grammys, the Oscars, all that. So he was having after parties, like whatever house, I don't know if he was renting it, leasing it, I don't know, bought it, I don't know. But whatever house he was staying at, he was throwing these epic after parties. And my dad gets back into town one night. It's like super late. I think it's like 10, 11 o'clock at night. And he calls me and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm about to go to bed." And he's like, "I just got a call from Prince. He's having a party." And I'm like, "I'll be dressed in 3 minutes." Like, let's go. So we go, and literally it is like, you just walk in and you just feel like, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but like the man has it, like he had an energy that just was like infectious and so thick, and so just like, I feel like I'm not operating on planet Earth right now when I'm in the presence of this person. And so his after party actually ended up becoming him performing. So he just like got up there with his band and like performed for hours. And like all of us, again, and it's one of those things where like it's an after party for an award show. So like there's tons of other celebrities in there, but we're all just like giddy little kids, like, "Oh my God, this is happening. We're getting a private call." concert from Prince. And I think my favorite moment from that night was literally, I kid you not, he was like not there 1 second, and then he just like appeared. He just like, I was talking to my dad, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's like floating in and literally floating because he's wearing like those skate shoes that like light up at the bottom,
This
literally floating. And he just like floats in, and then he's just like, next thing you know, he's just like standing next to us, and he's like, hey. And I was like, hey. And my dad's like, oh, hey, do you remember my daughter? And he's like, yeah, I remember you. And then he goes to hug me. And I just feel that there's like something on me that is amazing and great. And like, I kick myself every time I take a shower because I feel like I'm just washing it away. I'm just washing it away.
slowly, but what did he smell like?
I don't even, like, honestly, I don't even know. I don't know what he smelled like. I have no idea what he smelled like. I just know like the embrace was, I think some people would have an expectation that a hug from Prince would maybe feel like soft. It was actually like very firm and it felt very intentional. And I walked away like, oh yeah, so you also agree we're best friends. So yeah. So I'm glad it's not just me. And then he's like, excuse me. He was so polite. He was like, excuse me, I have to go perform now. And I was like, oh please, yes. Like, what else was I gonna say? Like, no, stay here. So, and then he performed literally when we walked out of that house, we walked out of there like zombies. It was like 7 a.m. And then this was just kind of repeated. He did this every weekend for like a month. It was insane. It was insane. I mean, one night while waiting for my dad's car to get brought around, like we're just sitting there, just like chopping it up. I mean, my dad knows her, but like with Shaka Khan, just like sitting there chopping it up, just like so. She had just gotten her knee replaced. My dad had just gotten his knee replaced. I've had knee surgery. Everyone was just fast friends, best friends, to the point where I feel like if I saw most of these people, like if I saw Anthony Mackie in the street, I would be like, oh, remember me? And he would say no. And then I would be like, but remember Pizza and Pasta with Prince circa 2012? And he'd be like, yes. He'd be like, come here, girl, bring it in.
Yeah. Love
For a good while, I don't know if he still does, but for a good while, Anthony Anderson did remember me. Like I saw him by myself in an airport without my dad with me, and he was like, Paige. And I was like, so it was magical. It was magical for everyone. Yes. Okay.
This took a magical turn.
It did. Well, it usually does when Prince gets involved.
So, okay. So I have to wrap it up with the final question.
Okay.
If you had the attention of the entire world, what would you say?
If I had the attention of the entire world, I would encourage the entire world to tell their story. However that may be, in what capacity, what forum, and what genre. I think, and the reason I would do this is because I'm a firm believer that there's so much, our stories are so powerful, and we spend so much of our life sometimes feeling like we have to feel shame about them or feeling guilty about certain parts of them, especially the messy, ugly, complex parts of our lives, the areas of our lives that didn't go according to plan, the circumstances that were hurtful and that were frustrating and angering and all these things. Like we tend to sometimes, especially as a culture, just have this mentality of like grit it and bear it and move on. But you never know like who can find hope, who can be encouraged, who can be revived by just hearing what you've been through and what you've gone through and what you've survived. And so I think the encouragement to tell your story is really the underlying layer of that, is to just like remove shame and to not feel like our stories are our stories. We only get only one life, only one story. And like, yeah, there are plenty of parts in mine that I'm not the proudest of, that I would much rather not relive or retell. Um, but I also think that that's really selfish, because I think the things that we go through and what we gain from it and how we grow from those things, like that growth and that healing isn't just for us, but it's for, it's for who we come into contact with. I have a blog, I'm writing a book. Maybe someone reading either of those things will find hope and find encouragement and find their own strength and resilience in doing that. Maybe you're a person who that's not your cup of tea. You're not going to write a blog, you're not going to write a book, but you still have a sphere of influence. We all have a sphere of influence with our friends, our family, with people we just come into contact every day. So yeah, I would tell people to tell your story, to to encourage them that, like, you are brave enough to be that vulnerable. Like, you absolutely are. And yeah, I believe vulnerability is a superpower. So use it for good.
Mind blown. That's how I felt in that. Mind blown. Alexis, I thought of you as soon as she said Prince. I was shook. Paige is amazing. She's always like such a delight. Really, that's the best word, a delight. Like a delight and a light. There's light in the word delight. You see what I did there? It all works. Anyway, if you love this interview, please share it. Please rate, review, subscribe. If you want to be interviewed, email me at info@theibw.com. Go check out past interviews if this is your first time visiting the podcast. Every woman has a different story, different angle, and each of them are just so fascinating. And this platform is all about elevating and hearing the different voices of Black women, because we're all so different. Now, if you don't already, go and run and follow Paige. Her website is lettherebedawn.life. Her Instagram is @lettherebedawn. So just in case for some of us, there's the THERE. I be struggling, so I just want to clarify for everybody else. They like, what kind of there? It's that there. It's the THERE. I completely appreciate Paige for her openness, her vulnerability, her sensitivity, and her humor. And it made this interview amazing. So go follow her. Follow this podcast if you haven't already. Rate, review, subscribe, do all the good things, and share. And I'll see you next week.